And a very pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another broadcast here on RioSportsLive.com. We are coming to you inside the Lucky Eagle Casino in Eagle Pass, Texas, and Rio Sports Live is at the 25th annual Dos Amigos Coaches Clinic. I'm Joe Bowling. Freddie Heredia joins me. We've already got guests at the table. Plenty of guests are coming to the podium. Again, we talked about this last night, Freddie. A big event, 25 years in the making, and well attended, as we said here today.
Yeah, it started back in 1993. We got Joe Martin of the Texas High School Coaches Association to my left. We got Glen West. Also, Joe Martin will be a speaker today. Glen is not a speaker today, but he's a guest for us here at RealSportsLive.com. Make sure you guys go on our website, RealSportsLive.com. Go to our Facebook page and of course, YouTube and all the other platforms that we have.
A lot of coaches are here. A lot of legends are here. Freddie, let's go ahead and start some of the interviews. Guys, is this your first year being here?
No, this is not my first year to be here. This is 25 years in the making. I've probably been almost 20 of them.
20 of them. So how about the growth? How about the growth of this thing?
This is a little bit different setting than out at Dos Amigos Ranch.
Yes, sir.
This is awesome. Oki and Hector have done a great job with this clinic, and they've got a great following.
Talk to me about what the coaches can expect and are now expecting when they come to this event to take from here.
Well, it's a great networking place, number one, and rekindle some relationships and be able to see some people that maybe you didn't know as a young coach, to be able to see some of these older guys that have had a lot of success. You know, it's like any other clinic. If you're able to go to a clinic and get one nugget to take home with you that's going to make you and your coaching staff and your team better, then that's what this is all about.
Exactly, and to give a little bit, of course, Joe Martin is the Texas High School football. He's the assistant executive director, 26 years in the coaching career, Coach. You won a state title back in 1999 in 5A Division II with the Owls. How was that? And of course, now you reside in Verde, Texas, which is a subdivision out in San Antonio. But
right.
how was that 1999 5H run for you?
That was a special year for us, no doubt. Anytime you win something that big and have the opportunity to get on a big stage and ultimately win it is very, very special. And it was a great year. It was a great bunch of coaches and kids. And it brought our community together. Always will be a special time and a place in my heart and our family. I mean, it changed our lives, to be quite honest.
As an executive director for the Texas High School Coaches Association, what is your main goal, Coach, as an executive director?
Well, the Coaches Association, we advocate for coaches. And we're all about trying to help coaches get better. Our mission statement is helping coaches to help kids, and that's what we try to do every day. Our mission statement guides every question that we have come to us. It leads us in everything that we do. We spend a lot of time at the Capitol in lobbying and advocating for coaches there. Spend a lot of time with education and trying to bring education on the field and off the field and beyond the game education to our coaches across the state. We have 23,000 members, and we are the Texas High School Coaches Association, so we represent both genders, all UIL sports, all coaches across the state of Texas.
The great state of Texas.
The great state of Texas.
When you're talking about coaches and as they leave here, I know July is usually that month that everyone's just chomping at the bit to get this rolling, but being here over 20 years, what's the feeling when coaches walk out of this clinic? Are they ramped up, ready to roll?
They are. They're going to hear some things today that's going to change their thoughts, you know, and they're ramped up and ready to roll, but not to go play, but to go prepare. And they're going to spend time once they leave here and they get back to their facilities trying to fit and formulate some of the things that they heard here that will help them in the fall of 98. I recall 98.
2018, yeah.
We're going to have some officials here later on going over some of the rule changes. This is also a big piece of this. It gives them time to prepare on how to prepare their players for that. Is that correct?
It really does. One of the best things that Oki and Hector have done here is they've always included Bill Fetchy, who is an official and has been the president of TASO, and he brings in rules updates for the fall of 18 or the fall every year. They also bring in Dr. Bud Curtis, who is an expert orthopedic surgeon, does a great job, has a huge presence in San Antonio, but he always brings something new to this group from a health and safety standpoint, which is really, really important.
Good stuff. That's just the start, my friends. We got speakers coming to the podium. We got another interview. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be live. Again, we're at the Lucky Eagle Casino in Eagle Pass, Texas. It's the 25th Dos Amigos Coaches Clinic, and this is RioSportsLive.com.
Shopping for furniture, appliances, or building supplies? Habitat for Humanity Restore has it all at discounted prices. Check out habitatrgv.org for more info, or drop by our McAllen or Harlingen stores. Restore. Great stuff, great prices, great cause.
The Harlingen Downtown District has a bit of everything, my friends, and here's an invitation for you to visit and experience a friendly environment with a taste of local business and a variety of shopping, dining, and entertainment throughout the year. Vintage shops loaded with collectibles from the past, dining that caters to all, boutiques, quilting, salons, live entertainment, and don't forget about market days on the first Saturday of each month on Jackson Street, and Art Night the last Friday of the month. It's the Harlingen Downtown
Forever
District.
Memories, Antiques, and Collectibles is your source for vintage, antique, collectibles, vinyl records, and more. Located at 206 East Jackson in historic downtown Harlingen, it's Forever Memories, Antiques, and Collectibles. It's a step back in time with a soundtrack like none other. Open Monday through Saturday, filled with memories and more. Forever Memories is for you.
Another edition of RealSportsLive.com. We're with Glen West, the assistant executive director. He'll be taking over Joe Martin's position because the great coach D.W. Rutledge will be retiring.
That's right. In December, Coach Rutledge is stepping down as executive director, and Joe Martin will take over at that time and be the executive director. So they brought me in April to try to learn the business and get moving in the right direction, and I'll be the assistant director.
Now you coached at Brenham High School. Brenham,
Yes, I was the head coach for the last 20 years.
last 20 years at Brenham, in the San Antonio district.
No,
Brenham.
Brenham, where they make Bluebell ice cream.
There you go.
Over by Houston area, yes.
And
Yeah.
what is it that, like we talked to Joe Martin, as an assistant executive director, you guys get your crew of coaches, both male and female, but what else do you guys, or what is it for you coming in and learning and, again, giving the advice to your coaches?
Well, first of all, for me, I just left as being the president of the association, so I was around the executive directors, and it's amazing to see all the different things that that organization, the Texas High School Coaches Association, does for coaches in continuing education. This year in coaching school will be the first year that every coach in the state of Texas will have to be certified coach. It's never happened. And so we've teamed with the UIL to make that happen. And also, we'll be doing a tackling certification. Every coach in Texas by 19 will actually have to be certified in the art of tackling, which is something totally different than has happened in any other state.
Well, and the biggest thing is reducing concussions, reducing injuries on the field. So that's something that you guys want to make sure that these coaches understand, that the safety of these athletes, these student athletes, is the number one priority.
It absolutely is, and we're doing everything in our power for that to take place. And through CPR training, through emergency training, through concussion training, and now into actually how to tackle. So we're changing the rules next year as far as you'll go through an acclimation period before you'll actually, in the past, you'll always wear just a helmet, some shorts, and then on Saturday or Friday, the 5th day, you're in full pads.
Yeah.
Well, this will be more like the college model, where we'll do 1 day in just helmets, 3 days in helmets, and 2 days in just helmets, 3 days with helmets and shoulder pads. So it's a slow acclimation into the full pads. So it's just some things we're trying to do.
And as you see some of these helmets here on
Yes.
the Rydell has kind of revolutionized what the helmet looks like in every standpoint. But what new stuff do you guys know about the new helmet technology and what it can do to reduce the concussion?
There are several companies that are investing a lot of money in the helmet itself to make it to where the actual blow doesn't come onto the head, but it disperses evenly through, actually into your neck area, to trying to keep there from being one centralized blow. We're doing everything we possibly can to recognize the problems that have been existing and trying to make it as safe as it can be, and we believe it's a very safe game.
And Texas high school football, it's religion, right?
Yes,
Everybody knows, of course, the Dave Campbell's issues coming out here pretty soon on newsstands. I know Eagle Pass has a commemorative, a special edition of Dave Campbell's football magazine, so we want to throw that out there. How many years have you been at this clinic?
Oh, this will be my first year at the clinic, but one of our jobs as working to this clinic, and it's really, really a good situation.
Yeah, so the Dos Amigos Ranch Clinic, it's been going on for 25 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Hector Villaseñor, the clinic sponsor, and of course Oki and Eric Villaseñor, the tandem of coaches. I actually grew up with Eric and played, in the playgrounds with Eric. He graduated in '96. He played in that '95 team. He was a quarterback. His dad was the coach.
Yes.
And then they got to coach against each other when he was at Laredo LBJ and, of course, CC Wynn.
We've been hearing a lot of those stories over the last couple of days, and really, really enjoyed getting to know those guys, and also just heartwarming to see so many coaches be here.
Yeah.
And spending time in their time off.
Yep. So we'll be back after this. You're listening to RealSportsLive.com.
If you just graduated high school, are looking to change careers, or to upgrade your job skills, Texas Southmost College is the place to start. With over 50 certificates and associate degrees to choose from, TSC has the career for you. At TSC, you get a quality education that's close to home. Earn a certificate or an associate degree and get the education you need for today and tomorrow's job market.
Wouldn't you like to be in demand?
Register now at Texas Southmost College in Brownsville.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close of wanting to making history.
This close to changing the world.
We are this close.
This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
Ever again. This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Roadies, Country Fried
At
Chicken.
Martinez Family Practice, they offer health care and are right now accepting primary care patients. Right now, they are giving athletes the chance to get in their sports physicals at just $20. Angelica Martinez and the Martinez Family Practice in Eagle Pass.
We are back here, and we are set to go, and the podium is taken over. We're going to hand it over to the microphone there. This is Real Sports Live.
Justin Timberlake up here. Hey, I want to welcome you guys here. This is awesome. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce a guy that he and I had a lot of conversations back and forth about this, and he made it happen here at the casino. And I want to introduce you to the Director of Marketing for the Kickapoo Casino, Mr. Phil Gonzalez.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, coaches. On behalf of the Kickapoo Traditional Tribe of Texas, welcome all of you to our establishment here. A couple of things here real quick. We do let you know about the beer is $2, and that's a good thing. And there's some sandwiches over there against the wall. You know, being a coach can be a lonely profession. Would you agree? Sometimes. Long hours, and if you're not winning, then it gets even lonelier. If that's the case for any of you, but y'all look like winners, I just want to tell you, but if that is just the case, I've got 3,400 nice friends out there that would love to meet you, okay? So, and by the way, if you are going to play the machines, I'd like to encourage you guys, and I mean this because it really is beneficial. This is a player's card. Go by the Players Club, get signed up, or get one from a kiosk and get a player's card. There's benefits to it. It does not impact how the machine plays. All it is for tracking purposes, so we can give you the rewards that you need, okay? So anyway, let us know if there's anything you need. Thank you to our staff, to our folks over here, to Jonathan and Vero and bartenders and everybody. Have a great conference, have a great season, and thank you all very much.
On behalf of the Dos Amigos, we'd like to present Phil with something, a little token of our appreciation. It's a 25th anniversary, and it's got the 25th Dos Amigos Football Clinic logo.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Fetchy.
Thank you, guys. All right, this is nice.
All right. You know, back last year, a year ago, Phil went to the ranch and we were having our deal at the ranch, and he came up to me and says, "How would you like to have this at the casino?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a tough deal. I don't know. Let me think about it." After football season was over and so forth, I started thinking, okay, how can I make this special? How can I make this a good one? I got to think like a coach. They're going to want good room rates. They want beer is going to be cheap. They're going to need rides to the ranch and back because they're going to be drinking. So everything, I think we met in January, and I think we met for lunch, and within 30 minutes, he had agreed to everything I had asked him. So, you know, I thank Phil big time, and I think this is going to be... A special thanks goes to our sponsors. You know, I don't know where Gus is. Is Gus here yet? Oh, yeah, Gus and Blair were here for Hammer Strength. All their names are in the back of our programs. I want to thank Coach Valero from Eric's staff, did those programs. And Coach Charlie Soto did the gifts for all the speakers that we're going to give out. And all these people up here, they were special. To Cheryl Honeycutt for doing all our badges. And for the ladies out there, I better thank my wife. She's going to come ask me for money here in a minute. She wants to go to, she already told me, give me the money. And anyway, and for Eric, my son, it was a back and forth deal every day. Something, hey, check the program, check this, do this. And I would say, okay, did you do this? No, okay. Well, hell, I never get fever blisters. I got a damn fever blister 2 days ago because I'm damn stressing here. So God dang it, I'm drinking Jack Daniels already. What the hell? Anyway, I'd like for Eric to come up and say a few words, and then he's going to introduce a special guest, and then Hector wants to have a few words too.
Morning, guys. Welcome to our 25th anniversary Dos Amigos Clinic. It's certainly a privilege and an honor to have all of you guys here with us. We got state champions here, got legends, we got ADs, assistant ADs, traveling from all over this great state of Texas to be here with us. So we certainly appreciate you guys being here. We want you to enjoy yourself here at the casino and in Maverick County. 149 attendees, that's the most ever that we've had in the history of Dos Amigos. Is that correct? And as you can tell in your program, started out as 20 coaches back in 1993 with the idea of coming from these two guys to my left, my father, Oki Villaseñor, and my uncle, Dr. Hector Villaseñor. So I think they deserve a huge round of applause, man, for making this a success. I want to introduce a special guest here with us. This guy here, he's a local attorney and mediator in Eagle Pass, Texas. He is a 2004 graduate from Eagle Pass High School, born and raised, got his Juris Doctorate from South Texas Law College. He's a great friend. His older brother is our special teams coordinator, comes from a great family here in Eagle Pass. Please help me welcome our Maverick County attorney, Jaime A.J. Iracheta.
Thank you very much. Like Coach said, I appreciate that very much. Goes that great introduction. My name is Jaime A.J. Iracheta. I'm not used to holding a microphone when I do speaking, so I want to say first and foremost, welcome to Eagle Pass, welcome to Maverick County, and welcome to the 25th annual Dos Amigos Ranch Clinic. I want a big round of applause for the Villaseñor family up here, please, for 25 years bringing football down to South Texas. I was asked if I could come speak here today and talk a little bit about what my high school days, my high school coaches influenced me. And so I guess I could start with, I didn't have the opportunity to be coached by Oki Villaseñor, but a little fun fact, my senior year in high school happened to be Eric Villaseñor's first year of coaching. So I could still remember the first day of two-a-days, what he told me. Do you remember that, Coach?
I don't know.
All right. I remember it. First day of 2 days, first year coaching, he comes up to me, and I still remember, said, "Stop crying. You just have to keep running, fat ass." So, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, I couldn't single it down to somebody in particular who taught me something, starting from when I was young. My dad was my first coach. I went through junior high, high school with all these great coaches. But what they did tell me, and teach me, for that matter, is always stay hungry. Always stay hungry. They couldn't coach me to be 6'5", obviously. They couldn't coach me to be 240 pounds and run a 4.5 40. But they taught me to outwork the other guy. And I used that my whole life. I used that in football. I used that when I went to college. I used that when I went to law school, and I use it to this day. And so with that, I thank the coaches that had that influence in my life, that taught me to always stay hungry, outwork the other guy, and success is always going to be in your future when you do that. As coaches, I commend you all for what you do day in and day out. Like I said, my brother's a coach, my dad was a coach. I know what it takes. I know what y'all do day in and day out, the sacrifices y'all make away from your families, the time out there in the sun and the heat. You guys are dealing with kids on so many different athletic levels, so many different maturity levels, so many different home situation levels, and you bring all that together and you form a team. That takes a lot. And with that, I want y'all to understand and know that you're not only coaches, you're mentors, your brothers, your friends, your father figures to these kids. And I know not every kid you get is going to be the next collegiate all-star. Not every kid you get is going to be the next NFL superstar. But those kids that you influence on a day-to-day basis, they could be the next coach. They can be the next teacher. They can be the next doctor, or in my situation, the next lawyer. So thank you very much, and on behalf of Maverick County, welcome, enjoy yourselves, and have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it. Also, would like to thank Real Sports Live for being here. Freddie Heredia. Freddie, you take a bow, please. Raise your hand right quick. And his sidekick, Joe Bowling. Joe, appreciate you for being here. All right. Guys, I want to explain how the process is going to work before I pass it over to my Uncle Hector. We're going to do the panel discussions. A lot of you have asked me, well, we're going to talk about offense, defense, or special teams, or culture, any of those important phases of the game. But the format's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a panel 50 minutes long, and we have a set of questions for each panel. So if you guys have questions, raise your hand. I'll go by there and get a question, or I'll pass you this wireless mic, and you can ask the panel coaches that are up here the question that you're curious about, because I know we all have things that we are curious about, that we want to know. Talking to Coach Martin and Coach West last night, they certainly provided a vast amount of input to the coaches there last night at Dos Amigos. So that's how our format's going to work, guys. This year we have 5 panels going, and we'll introduce that panel as soon as the man of the hour, Dr. Hector Villaseñor, gives his welcoming remarks. Let's give him a hand.
Yeah, I want to welcome everybody to the 25th Annual Clinic. I guess you know by now that last Tuesday we had a big fire at the ranch. We lost the lodge that has a lot of memories. We lost about 20 years of pictures from everybody that had been there, and it was declared a total loss. But hopefully we'll reload and rebuild for next year. We'll see. But anyway, what I wanted to do was, can everybody stand up for me? I want everybody to stand up. I just want to get. What I want to know is if you've been to the clinic 1 to 5 times, sit down. 1 to 5 times only. Okay? If you've been to the clinic 6 to 10 times, sit down. If you've been to the clinic 10 to 15 times, sit down. Been to the clinic 15 to 20 times, sit down. 21, 22, 25 times. Who's been 25?
Right here, perfect attendance.
Over here, Betsy. So I think there were about 5 or 6 of you that have been here at least 20 times, right? Yeah, thank you. You know, at this time, I want to take a moment of silence for the coaches that have passed away. And there's some of them that are chronically ill. Tommy Watkins. How many remember Don Tate from Crescent Springs? Great coach.
First speaker ever.
He was our first speaker ever. Trent Phipps. Everybody know Trent? Yeah, I think Trent passed a few years ago. You know, about 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe longer, my dad was working on the lawn, cleaning everything up for the clinic. It was about 3 in the afternoon, and Trent Phipps drove up 10 years ago. And my dad was cutting the grass, and Oscar stopped, and Trent drove up, and Trent got off the truck, and he said, "Oscar, where is everybody? Are they at the lodge?" He said, "Coach, clinic is next week." He said, "Next week?" He had come to the clinic 1 week early. So my dad gave him something to eat. He left that day and came back the next Thursday. It's amazing. He drove from Amarillo, all the way from Amarillo. So, yeah, he was a great guy. I think he coached in Uvalde. I don't know where else. Where else did he coach? Anybody know? Graham? Yeah. Anyway, I wrote some things down here, and I'm just going to sit down because I think I'll read it instead of saying this. But, my wife and I always talk about family. And, as the saying goes, live, laugh, and love. And over the years, I've noticed at this clinic, it's been more like live, learn, laugh, and love of the game. We've had some good times. It's been a pleasure to watch all the young coaches that have attended this clinic learn from the older, experienced coaches. And just by attending the Okies games over the years, there's some things that I've observed. One is that, every week all coaches, you face challenges and obstacles. Quarterback goes down, you lose your middle linebacker. Sometimes your best running back has to face the consequences of being sidelined for missing an important game because he missed practice or was late to a practice. Every week you celebrate the benefits of hard work, achievements, and joys. Every week you may lose a game, and you may cry with your team, and you share things that no one else can understand unless you're a coach. And yet, in the happiest moments, you do it all together like family. In these times of recurrent high school shootings and increasing drug problems, single parents, loss of true family moral values. You know, as a coach, don't forget that you're the greatest gift to these kids. I congratulate you for all the great influence you have and have had for all these athletes. Enjoy the clinic, the good food, and the friendship. Thank you.
On behalf of me, Fetchy, Eric, would like to present to you a special gift. The 25th, and it's got the logo again in the back, and Raging Cajuns. And we have a Raging Cajun right over there. One of Hector graduated from Southwestern Louisiana. He was a trainer there for 4 years. And David McKenna played, and he flew down Texas A&M Commerce. He's a director of facilities at Texas A&M Commerce and in charge of athletics. And they were the national champs this year, right there, David McKenna.
And on behalf of Mr. Fetchy and the entire Dos Amigos team, we'd like to present you, if you could let me out of the way here. We'd like to present you, Dad, to the with this helmet. Again, same logo, 25th anniversary, and for all your efforts and commitment and the headaches that you've given me these past couple of months. And good Lord, I'm glad it's over with. I'm joking. But here you go, man. You deserve it. We love you. We also have a gift for perfect attendance on behalf of my dad and my Uncle Hector for Bill Fetchy. This is a clock, and it has a Dos Amigos logo along with Tasso, which is the organization he represents and does a fantastic job with. So we thank you, Mr. Fetchy, for all your commitment to Dos Amigos. Guys, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we're going to bring up our first panel for the day, guys. And the first panel, D.W. Rutledge, Coach Rutledge. There he is. Okay, I didn't see you. D.W. Rutledge, Coach Joe Martin, and Dr. Bud Curtis will be the first panel. We'll take about 5 minutes, and then we'll reconvene. Okay?
The reason we made this Quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made, handmade tortilla. And our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, you know, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
Back here again as they're on an intermission here before the first key speaker of this event. Again, thanks for joining us here at the Dos Amigos, the 25th annual Coaches Clinic here in Eagle Pass with the Lucky Eagle Casino. Freddie, you got a big guest here. The man's been on the podium all day long. And we caught him. Let's get him for a couple minutes here.
Co-director of the Dos Amigos football clinic, Mr. Coach Eric Villaseñor. Sorry, I'm losing my voice right now with Coach right here next to me. Well, yeah, it's not football season yet, but Coach, thank you for inviting RealSportsLive.com, Joe Bowling, and myself coming out and enjoying the festivities and being around the fraternity of coaches. I mean, being around the coaches and just listening to their everything that it has gone in their careers and whatnot. Congratulations to you as you won Coach of the Year in 5A in 2016. Yes, so.
We just thank you guys for being here, and we thank you for all the. And the David. ¿Ya lo viste? No.
What does it mean for you, and your father, of course, also Hector Villaseñor, but what is it about this and doing it here in Eagle Pass? What is it? What does it bring to your family in doing it for 25 years, Coach?
And the assistant coaches that maybe couldn't have made it, but I always take something back from this clinic, and we utilize it, in our program at Wynn High School, and this year's no different, man.
And getting new facilities, Coach.
Oh yeah, we're excited about that, and we certainly thank the Board of Trustees and our superintendent for making that happen. They're visionaries, and they want what's best for our kids. $2.1 million facility should be ready to go in August, and it's going to be an exciting time. Eagle Pass ISD, man, they're doing it first class. No doubt.
Yeah, I know we're going to touch a little bit about realignment, but don't want to talk too much about that. We want to concentrate on this Dos Amigos Ranch Clinic. Hopefully we can come back next year and give some more insight to the state of Texas. 149 coaches when you guys had 20 coaches. So
started out as 20. We got 149, today. So it's building throughout the years. I think the question of the day is are we going to come back here to Que Pasa Lounge? We're going to work on it.
Yeah,
we're going to do our best and make this event bigger and better, without a doubt. But we appreciate you guys being here with us today.
Joe, you have anything?
I just want to say thanks again for letting us be here, and congratulations on the growth of this. I know you got to get back on that stage. We appreciate you a bunch. Thank you.
Safe travels, guys.
Back after this.
Thank you.
The reason we made this Quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made, handmade tortilla. And our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
We are back here at the Lucky Eagle Casino. We're about to hand the microphone back over on the podium. Again, a lot of coaches here, Freddie, telling a lot of stories. We're going to hear some neat stuff coming up with the next speaker.
Yeah, D.W. Rutledge is coming up. He's the executive director. He's going to be retiring, as we talked earlier to Joe and Glen West. He's going to be retiring from the Texas High School Coaches Association as the executive director. He's of course, winner of 7, or he advanced to 7 5A state championships.
7 title games, my friends.
7 title games and 4, 88, 92, 93, 95.
Won them all. 1 4 of 7. That's a pretty good run. Yeah, well, he'll be taking the podium. Again, we'll take one more break. When we come back, D.W. Rutledge will be on the microphone. This is Rio Sports Live coverage of the 25th annual Dos Amigos Coaches Clinic from the Lucky Eagle Casino inside at Eagle Pass, Texas. Back after this.
Forever Memories, Antiques, and Collectibles is your source for vintage, antique, collectibles, vinyl records, and more. Located at 206 East Jackson in historic downtown Harlingen, it's Forever Memories, Antiques, and Collectibles. It's a step back in time with a soundtrack like none other. Open Monday through Saturday, filled with memories and more. Forever Memories is for you.
Pick. We got Devil's River hats, Texas High School Coaches Association hats. So our first drawings and winners of the day. Here we go.
Les Gold.
Let's go. Where's Les?
He's right there.
Another one. 6.
Oh, there's a lot of
Which cap do you want? Take your pick. Take your pick.
Fortino Patino, Crystal City.
Patino, Crystal City. Remember, the rule is you're not in here, you don't win. So.
Tom Gonzalez.
He just got here. Here, take your pick.
Thank you. What'd I get?
Michael Villarreal, West High School. Fred Pañawa, CC Wynn High School.
Got one more. One more.
Mike Robbins.
Mikey. Give him a cap.
At Martinez Family Practice, they offer health care and are right now accepting primary care patients. Right now, they are giving athletes the chance to get in their sports physicals at just $20.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started with our first panel.
Family Practice in Eagle Pass.
From 12 to 12:50, Coach D.W. Rutledge, Coach Joe Martin, and Dr. Curtis. A little bit of background on them. If you have not read on your programs, Coach Rutledge, one of the most successful coaches in Texas high school football. His teams advanced to seven state championship games, winning 4 of them. He's also the executive director for our great association. And as you well know, guys, he'll be retiring in December. So it's great to have him here. This is his last hurrah, so to speak. And we're really excited to have Coach Rutledge. Thank you for being here, Coach. Coach Joe Martin is the Assistant Executive Director of the Texas High School Coaches Association, and he will be taking the reins in January, all right? Coach Martin, just a great individual, great man, as all these men right here on the panel are. Enjoyed a 26-year coaching career in Texas Public Schools, served as a head coach for 18 years at 4 different high schools, Lake Dallas, Maybank, Garland, and Allen. Coach Martin's team won 9 district championships, 2 trips to the state semifinals, and 1 state championship in 1999 with the Garland Owls. Currently resides in Bulverde, Texas with his wife of 36 years, Peggy, and they have 2 kids who are assistant coaches at SMU and at McKinney High School. Coach Joe Martin. Dr. Curtis, orthopedic surgeon, is a consultant for the San Antonio Spurs, for the Rampage Hockey, San Antonio FC Soccer, San Antonio Missions Baseball, and Coach Dr. Curtis is always a huge advocate of player safety in coaching school and always giving us the up-to-date information on player safety. Please help me welcome Dr. Bud Curtis. Guys, I want to pass the mic over to my dad. He's got the set of questions for the panel. Again, if you guys have a question, just raise your hand. I'll go snag that piece of paper from you, and just put your name and the school that it's from, and I know these gentlemen here to my left will be more than happy to answer and clarify. All right? Here we go, guys. Panel number 1.
Okay, guys, believe me, I had everything already done for the clinic last week. Good to go, Eric. We're good to go, Dad. Don't worry, we got everything going. And then he said, you got the questions? Holy shit, the questions. So I called Joe, right away I called Joe, and I get one of these, boop, boop. I said, God dang, he's in Mexico. That's a dial tone in Mexico. Well, he was in Cancun. And I texted him, hey, I need some input. So he sent me some questions, and I looked at them, and I stole some from him, but I made some up, some good ones, I think. And then I got all the coaches said, Dr. Curtis, what the hell am I going to ask Dr. Curtis? He's been coming for 24 years, 23 years, and he's had from top to bottom, he's everything. So what are we going to talk about? So, well, you can talk about erectile dysfunction, I guess. That'd be a good one. So, anyway, here we go. First question is Coach Rutledge.
Yes, sir.
After having the great success at Judson, you went to Texas High School Coaches Association. What had been the biggest challenges in making the association what it is today?
That's a good question, Oki. That was one of the toughest decisions I made to go to the Coaches Association and leave Judson. But it was one of those things that, one of those jobs that just comes along once in a lifetime. And you know, some of the challenges that I saw going in is trying to get more professional development at our coaching school and give our coaching school more credibility, so superintendents and principals and administrators would support us in the things that we're doing. So getting that professional development started, and I tell you, Dr. Curtis is the main guy behind that, because he brought all the doctors that he works with, the Spurs doctors, and they have come in every year since we started that professional development certification, and boy, the job that he has done, we wouldn't have a professional development lecture series if it wasn't for Dr. Bud Curtis. He has supported, he is a great friend of high school coaches, and he has supported high school coaches in a really powerful way, and just really appreciate him and his colleagues for all that they've done in helping us get that going. But I think that was one of the most important, because I think it made our coaches more aware of the things. You know, when we played back in the old days, if you got knocked out, they'd snap a ammonia capsule under your nose and put you back in there. And it wasn't because your coaches didn't love you, or they were worried about. They weren't worried about you getting just, hurt again. They just that was the way they were coming out of World War II. That's the way they lived their lives, and that's but as we got into that, and we got the professional development lectures going, I think it made our coaches much more aware of the hazards of concussions and the hazards of sudden heart situations and all the things that are out there, the hydration and all the things that are out there. It just made us so much more aware of that, that it made us better coaches, because it helped us take care of those kids more. But that would be the number one thing.
Joe, what do you think is the biggest challenges you're facing, or our association faces now, and what we'll have to endure in the near future?
Well, one of the biggest things that we're facing, I believe, is dealing with our younger coaches and being able to provide mentorship for our younger coaches. And one of the things that we've worked on and will continue to work on in the future is, as younger coaches now don't go through student teaching, and a lot of times don't have that mentorship through that student teaching process, that they have the opportunity to go to an alternative certification. And, they decide they want to go into another area of profession. And once they get out and they start that job, they realize, I really wanted to coach all along, and I didn't do it because you can't make any money in it. And so they decide they're going to go back and coach, and they go through alt cert, and they come out and they don't have that mentor that is there. And providing some mentoring for our younger coaches, providing education for our younger coaches. DW and I are really proud of the things that we've been able to accomplish, and he talked about professional development, but the Head Coaching Academy is one example that has been created in the last few years, and it's really geared toward younger coaches that want to become head coaches. And we're going to take that same thought process and talk about young coaches and the things that you need to be able to learn, and how you progress through this profession and have a long-lasting career in this profession.
Doc, as a consulting physician for Texas high school coaches and UIL, what do you see as being the biggest challenges as far as player safety?
You know, I think it's awareness, and awareness on the part of the coaches, and to be educated in an area that's not a part of your standard education. I mean, you didn't get into coaches to be a first aid provider or a nurse or a physician, but you're going to be thrust into that role more and more. The whole process of professional development and the process that Coach Rutledge and Coach Martin have put forth with the Coaches Association, I think it's really important. If you look around at any profession today, it's about providing standards of education to provide legitimacy for the profession. I mean, you want every parent of every kid that you coach to understand that you have met certain requirements and that you understand and that you're doing a lot for their kids besides X's and O's. It's about safety. So the biggest challenge is to continue the educational process and to get you guys to buy into it, because you understand how important it is to check that box and understand that you're providing the best for your kids. You know, and I started this process and my whole sports medicine career as I got into orthopedics, and I can tell you that a couple of the most influential guys in my career early are in the room with me. One was Coach Rutledge. When I'd been in practice for about 2 years, they lost their team physician, and I went over to interview with him, and he took me as his team doctor. And that was a deal that started 25 or 30 years ago now. And then I got invited to the clinic because there was a guy in this room who tore his ACL. Eric, where are you? And so that was my introduction to the Eagle Pass connection. And next thing you know, I'm speaking at the clinic. So these two guys to my right and my left have been super influential in the development of my career, and I thank them both for that.
Coach Rutledge, what kind of parent and community involvement did you encourage when you were at Judson?
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We did a lot of things as far as parents' meetings and those types of things. I think the same thing probably as most all of you do. We would have parents' meetings, of course, before the season, and make sure that we tried to answer all of their questions and tried to be brutally honest with them and the things that we would sit down and meet with them on, and the things that we would not sit down and meet with them on. But that was important, of course. Man, we had a great community, and we had a lot of good mamas and daddies at Judson, and they were a blue-collar community and a military community. So they're very hard workers. The parents were very hard workers. You could work those kids about as hard as you wanted to, but they generated a great following for Judson, and I think a lot of that was just because of the not anything that I did. But just because of the makeup of that community and the pride that they had in their kids and their school.
Joe, same question. What kind of parent and community involvement did you have at Maybank, Lake Dallas, Garland, and Allen? How were they different between Lake Maybank and Allen?
Quite a bit different. One of the things that we tried to be very inclusive with our parents, and we had our booster club, and we invited those parents to our booster club meetings. We had the normal parent meetings before the season started, and we tried to include them in everything that we did, and we tried to communicate with them quite a bit. As an example, we always had on game day, we had a breakfast or a lunch, but we invited our parents to come to that meeting, and I always brought in someone from the community to talk to our kids about the word of the day or the word of the week or some important term that we were using at that point in time. So in Maybank, we brought them in the morning, and we met at the Methodist Church, and these parents cooked breakfast for our team. And we had a team meeting. It was before school. Always had an outside speaker come in and visit with them. And in Maybank, that turned into a tighter group of men that became really close to our program. And they would leave breakfast and they would go back, as our kids went back to school, they'd go back to the stadium and they would paint our field. I know most everybody in this room now plays on turf, but we were on grass at that time in the early 90s, and 90 and 91, and they would go paint our field. And then those guys took a lot of pride in painting that field, and it was a big deal if they could put something special on that field that week, and they all got to vote, and we decided, but it was giving them some buy-in. And then they'd leave and they'd go to the country club, and they'd go play golf, and they'd start drinking, and by the time it kickoff, they were in a really good mood. And it kind of progressed into, you know, on Saturday, some of those men would come back after we brought our kids up and did our normal Saturday deal. They would come back and they would sit and watch our video with us. After our coaches had met, I would sit with them and I would watch video of the game and of the opponent with them. And then I got to writing this smaller group of people a letter every week. We're fixing to play Kemp, our rival, or we're going to play Canton, or we're playing Van, and here's what they do, and here's what we're going to do, and I would give them the first play of the game, and let them know what the first play of the game is, because they would come in on Friday after painting the field, going to the country club, coming back to the game, they got to betting on, you know, I bet they throw it, I bet they run it, I bet they do this. These guys made some money after that, and we started writing them a letter and letting them in on that. And you talk about giving them some information, some insight that was pretty special, that they bought into everything that we did. Fast forward to Garland. At Garland, we did a lot of the same stuff. I quit writing that letter because there was too many parents, and you didn't know for sure if you could trust everything that was taking place. But we had a senior night. We would bring those parents up, and everybody has a senior night, but we had a senior dad's night that we fed our kids steaks, and we brought those parents in, and we built a barbecue pit and an outdoor area, but we brought those parents in to be able to be involved in that, and that became really special. In Allen, we did the same thing, but we had our boosters and some of those parents that would come up on Sunday night, every Sunday, and feed our coaches, and very inclusive. In Allen, we started a deal called Reading with the Eagles. And we would take our team on game day to an elementary school, and we would divide that elementary school up by the number of kids we had. So we made sure we had kids in every classroom, and we had one book that we read, and they would read to those kids. And at the end of the reading with the Eagles, they would come back into that elementary cafeteria, and we would have lunch like I described the breakfast in Maybank, and we would have our parents come in and be a part of that. Dickey's Barbecue catered that, and it became like a banquet every week almost. But it was that largely attended, but it was not that formal. But we'd still bring the outside person in to address our team and let him talk, and then I would finish it up. But our parents were able to come be a part of that and witness that and be a part of their kids on game day, and to be able to open that up was pretty special to them. The last thing that we did that I failed to mention, in Lake Dallas, Maybank, Garland, and Allen, after the game, if we were playing at home, we always opened our dressing room up to our parents. We would go in and talk to our kids right quick, and for a very short amount of time, and then we would open the doors and allow our parents to come in and see their kids immediately after a victory or immediately after a defeat. We did it every time. We never changed that. We always allowed them to come in and do that, and it built such a bond for their parents to come in and visit with them, especially their mothers. They would like to come in and see where their son is lockering and see what that looked like and dress. It just brought chemistry is a big deal in coaching, and it brought team chemistry, it brought coaching chemistry together. And then the last thing that we did from a parent standpoint in Garland, when I first got to Garland High School, Homer Johnson was the athletic director there for 65 years. Still goes to work every day. He's not working, but he still goes to his office. And he told me when I took that job in the 90s that Garland had lost their tradition. And the principal there at Garland High School said, you'll never bring the Garland High tradition back to Garland High. And they used to celebrate their victories on the square in Garland. So we started doing a deal where anytime we won a football game, and when we first got there, it wasn't very many, anytime we won a football game away from our home stadium, which was Williams Stadium, we went to the square and we celebrated. And it brought all those parents into that. We brought our band and our drill team, and we had a huge ass party downtown on the square. It became a great tradition. But those are some of the ideas about how we involved our parents in what we dealt with in all those different places, how they changed. Maybank at that time was a 3A school, and Garland and Allen were 5A, now 6A.
Doc, in all your lectures at Dos Amigos, one lecture that sticks to my mind, and I think it does with Pete Fredenberg, you were not a proponent of doing the full squats in the weight room. Do you still believe in not doing full squats? Why, and what would you recommend?
Yeah, 100%. I think full squats are bad, and it's about the anatomy. If you understand the anatomy, you'll understand why. And it's always hard to demonstrate it without a model, but I'll try to do it. The end of Coach Rutledge, I'm gonna get you to hold that. The top of the tibia, okay, that's the bottom bone that goes into the knee, is flat like so. And on either side, you've got a thing called the meniscus, okay, medial meniscus and lateral meniscus. The end of the femur has a weight-bearing surface that's like this helmet. It's like a cam. So when you flex the knee, okay, the femur begins to roll back like this and roll back like this and roll back like this. And when you get to about 90 degrees and then below, you see how it's only articulating with a small percentage of the surface of the tibia, okay? So that means all that force is concentrated on just a little bitty tiny bit of the meniscus on either side. Well, think about your average kid who then may twist just a little bit one way or another, okay, and it grabs the meniscus and it shears it in two. I do 20 surgeries a year, basically from squats in the weight room, one fateful twist when they get down there below 90 degrees and it grabs the meniscus and it tears it. And it's all about the anatomy. You can get plenty strong, okay, from 90 degrees and up, okay? And probably more important on your squats than working your quad is to do what I've always sort of preached here, which is working on the hamstring side. Because in almost everybody, your quads are 4 times stronger than your hamstrings. So there's this big disparity between hamstrings and quads. And the hamstring is your protector, protecting against muscle injury and really protecting against ACL injury. So, I think I introduced it. I know Coach Fredenberg took me seriously many years ago about doing the Russian or the Nordic curls, and that's working the hamstring both eccentrically and concentrically, and that'll protect your knee way more than doing squats below 90 degrees ever thought about doing. So the answer is yes, and haven't changed my tune at all on it.
Coach Rutledge, with all the attention on concussions, do we as coaches bring forth the concerns when parents ask? Parents are worried about concussions nowadays. They're looking at TV. What do we as coaches do to keep that concern down with them, that what we're doing?
Yeah. As you guys know, and sometimes we don't like to embrace this as much as we should, but the game of football is under attack. And we as coaches are going to have to, the game's going to change. I mean, we've got to realize that. And we have, as coaches, have got to change with it. I really believe that football is is safer today than it's ever been. I really believe that, especially as far as some of the tackling and some of those things that's starting to be taught. The other thing is, I think our coaches are a lot more aware, as Dr. Curtis was saying a while ago. A lot, awareness is the big thing, and our coaches are a lot more aware of the injuries that take place with football, and especially the concussion issue that you asked specifically about. But one of the things that we're doing that is a big change, and it's going to be starting this year, is we're the first state that's going to start mandating tackle certification for our coaches, and with the key element of taking the head out of the game, and we feel like that we found the best company, best people to do that, as far as the way they teach and the progression that they teach and the systematic approach that they have to teaching tackling. We feel like is going to be good, and as the coaches get into that certification, I think they're going to find that there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be available to them through resources of that tackling certification that's going to help them a great deal, not just in season, but also help them in training a lot of different drills as far as tackling that I've never done, and some of the things that Rex Norris Jr. is one of the main guys with Atavus, and Joe and I went up to Seattle to talk to them about this. But one of the big things that I saw when we were going through it was some of the off-season training that you can do to strengthen your tackling skills as a team. And so there's going to be a lot of those things that, to me, I think in addressing those parents is just letting them know that the game's safer than it's ever been, and we're making great strides and efforts in trying to change the things that need to be changed to make it safer for the kids. So.
Thank you. Joe, you went from coaching all those years to the association. What kind of adjustment was it for you?
Huge.
To be sitting behind the desk all day.
Yeah, sitting behind a desk and having an office full of women, and that had never happened. Before I answer that, and I don't know that I'm going to have the opportunity, but I want to thank Hector and Oki for inviting all of us to be a part of this clinic over a 25-year period, and allowing us to be at the ranch and enjoying the hospitality that you guys have provided. I really appreciate that. This clinic today is way different than anything at the ranch. It's a hell of a lot cooler in here than being at the ranch. The sandwich wasn't near as good as the burger, and not near as much beer being drank at this point. I remember the first time that I spoke at this clinic, and I think I was starting off at noon or at 1 o'clock, and I told Oki, I'm a little nervous about what I'm bringing to the forefront. He said, hell, don't worry about it. They ain't going to listen to you anyway. They're here to drink beer. So, and that was kind of the attitude the first couple of times that I came to this clinic, and I've been somewhere in that 15-year range. I'm not sure how many times I've been here, but it was always a deal where you could take something away. And the special thing for me was to come down here, and Bill Fetchy was always going to talk about rules, as he will today, and you always picked up something new about NCAA rules, football rules. The other thing was Dr. Curtis has always been here, and I remember him after a lecture. I was talking to him about creatine one time, and about the effects. Is it good or is it bad? And he said, you know what, I don't really know. I'll study it and I'll report on it next year. And the next year at Dos Amigos Clinic, his lecture was about creatine and the effects and the negative effects of it. So this clinic is always out there, just like all the other clinics are, in that if you get one thing from this and take it away and make you better as a coach, make your kids better, make your culture better at your school, then it's dang sure worth it. But thank you all very much, and I appreciate being able to be a part of this today and over the last few years, and been able to fish a little bit at the ranch. It's been pretty awesome. But to answer your question, the difference between coaching and going to the association, number one, you know, DW had the question earlier about when he took over as the executive director, and he mentioned this job only comes around once, and he jumped on it. And when he offered me to join him and partner with him, I felt like it was only going to go around once. So was very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to work alongside DW the last 15 years. I'm starting my 15th year right now. The difference is it's been DW and I and a bunch of women in an office, which is really, really different. Cheryl Honeycutt's awesome. She's been at the association longer than even DW has been there. You don't have the parent issues. The biggest thing is you're not driven by a bell schedule. I don't care what time it is. It doesn't really matter. DW and I are not having to go here or go there because of a bell. And that was really, really different. The camaraderie of having a staff and being around kids is what I have missed the most. You know, we've always had a really close-knit staff, and our culture with our kids was pretty special, and I enjoyed that relationship with those kids. And I enjoy the relationship with the parents, believe it or not. They all drive us all crazy, and they all want to know why Johnny isn't getting to play more, etc. But I enjoyed being in that environment a lot, and those are the things that I've missed the most. But been very, very fortunate and very excited to be able to join DW and learn alongside him.
Doc Curtis, concussions. We're talking about, you know, not using the head anymore, the face. What about shoulder injuries? Is that going to rise up? What do you think?
You know, I don't think so. I think using the shoulder is actually pretty protected. I think avoiding contact with the head is a good thing. You know, concussions are a big deal. Concussion training's the law. Always in my talks that I've given to you guys, it's been how do you keep out of legal trouble as well as doing the best for your kids? So you really have to comply with concussion training. As far as the shoulder goes, most shoulder injuries are based upon the hand getting away from the body and then getting leveraged one way or another, and that really shouldn't be any different in terms of how it's affected with tackling, even if you don't use your head in tackling. So I think we're going to see fewer of those. You may see more brachial plexus injuries, burners, because if you get your head out of the way, the shoulder goes down, the head goes the other direction. You may see a few more of those, but I really don't see any negative from the standpoint of shoulder. What would you recommend? Well, I mean, I think that the component that's usually missed the most, and the question was, what would you do to strengthen the shoulder for protection, more than or different than what we've been doing? You guys know that I've always been a proponent of doing the cables or the bands to get the base, the rotator cuff strength. The perfect exercise routine would be rows for your shoulder blades. You know, everybody has lazy shoulder blades because we don't focus on the back side of the shoulder with what we do in the weight room very well. So a lat cable, pulling it down here in front, a row, focusing on shoulder blades here, working on your rotator cuff, and then biceps and triceps are the auxiliary muscles. So that's the perfect set of exercises to protect your shoulder. And probably just tweaking your program just a little bit. I think we probably do way too much heavy bulk exercise and not enough attention to the fine-tuning muscles.
Got that, powerlifting coaches? Coach Rutledge, why did you go into coaching, and outside of a parent, who was your most important mentor?
Say that again.
Why did you go into coaching? And outside of a parent, who was your most important mentor?
There's no doubt that I went into coaching because of my high school coaches. Had a lot of respect for them, and they were a mentor to me. Of course, I had a great mom and dad, and was raised in a Christian home, and they taught me a ton of values, and their influence on my life was strong. But Beyond that was probably Jim Wacker, my college coach. He was, I played for him at Texas Lutheran, and then he took the job at North Dakota State, and I went up there and coached at North Dakota State with him. And so I got to see him put in the program at Texas Lutheran as a player. I got to see him at North Dakota State put in a program from the ground up, and then he went to Texas State. I got to see him put in that program, and just the way that he treated kids and the influence that he had on the players, especially college players, was really stood out to me. He was a great proponent in that as a coach, you have a platform. Athletics gives you a platform, and that teaching the game is not the major task of that platform. Teaching character development and life skills and those things are. And I think that's getting that from him and watching him as he taught that was really important to me. And I still believe that today, that our most important job as coaches is not in the skills that we teach, but it's in the intangibles that we have a chance to teach, like developing leadership skills or work ethic or unselfishness, being on a team and developing care and concern for others, those types of things. And Coach Wacker took the time to sit us down and teach those things to us. And that's I think the most important thing that we can do as a coach. And I think the most important thing that we can do as an athletic program that affects the educational process is how we handle our kids, how we teach our kids on the life skills and the character development. To me, that is our major task and our minor task then. Because if you get that done, you're going to automatically have a better team. You're going to automatically have better kids, better athletes, and those things. And, I've always said, if I was getting up and going to work just to win a football game, that's not a very strong purpose. But if I'm getting up and going to work because I believe I can change a young person's life, that I can get a young man that's on a road to nowhere, get him turned around and get him on a road to somewhere, then that's the major task. So that would be Coach Wacker, and that would be why. So,
Joe, same question. Why did you get into coaching? And outside of a parent, who was your most important mentor?
Well, I got into coaching because my dad was a coach. I followed my dad from the time I was in elementary school. I was his shadow. I left every day. I'm pretty unique. He was coaching in Oklahoma at the time, southeastern Oklahoma, in Idabel, Oklahoma. And I was in elementary school, and I left every day and went to practice. And when I left elementary school in season, I went and watched practice. And when it was off season, I went and watched off season. And we left off season about 3 days a week in the wintertime to go quail hunting. And when quail season was over, we left off season about 3 days a week and went fishing. And that was something that I thought I wanted to grow up to be just like my dad. And it was a pretty special opportunity to be a part of that. We moved to Lockney, Texas. He was the head football coach at Lockney High School in 1967. And in February of 68, we had a student-faculty basketball game. He's running down the floor playing in that student-faculty basketball game and died of a massive heart attack. And 2 years later, my older brother, who was a sophomore in high school, graduated, and he went to Eastern New Mexico. And we moved to Louisville, Texas, because my mother's sister lived in Louisville, and she needed help raising me. And the high school coaches, the coaches at Louisville High School, it was a godsend, really. Bill Shipman became the head football coach at Louisville High School when I was a sophomore. When I was a freshman, Don Poe was the head coach, and he left and went to work with his brother in McKinney. and Bill Shipman became the head coach. Max Goldsmith was the athletic director. David Vizentine, that some of you in this area might know, he coached at San Antonio Marshall for a while, was the defensive coordinator. Bill Branham was my quarterback coach in high school, and I just attended his funeral last Thursday. Those are the guys that impacted me because they saved me from going the wrong direction. Just like DW said, you know, if you have a passion as a coach to get up and you try to take that kid that's going nowhere to turning him to go to somewhere, I'm the example of that. I lived through that. The last guy to bust my ass in high school was Max Goldsmith, and he wore my ass out because I was acting a fool. I don't know if anybody in this room knows Max, but Max was a track guy, a little bitty guy, coached in Andrews and became the athletic director there. But those guys impacted me. As a sophomore, I was going the wrong way, and the funeral that I attended last week, Coach Branham, I acted a fool in the classroom and driver's ed and all kinds of stuff, and he guided me, he corrected me. They beat me back into being a good kid, but I have them to thank for it. I mean, I wanted to, you know, as a young kid, I wanted to grow up and be like my dad, and as a high school athlete and student, I wanted to grow up to be like David Vizentine. Those are the ones that impacted me. I went to that funeral last Thursday with David Vizentine. So pretty special opportunity. Pretty special that kids can have coaches in their lives that redirect them, that can make a difference and have an impact. And that's what, as DW talked about a while ago, that's what impacted us to go to work every day. That's the reason that we have so much coaching beyond the game education through the association. It's due to all that and those experiences, and that's what made it so special for me.
Doc, I'm going to give you like a 4-part question here. State of art of bracing, ankle bracing, knee bracing, shoulder bracing. What are your thoughts, and how do we as coaches do a better job of preventing some of these injuries?
Well, I'll start at the end and work back toward the beginning. The most important thing that you can do to prevent injuries is appropriate strength and agility. So injury prevention starts in the off season, and it starts with consistency. It's what Coach Popovich always talks about. It's how do you break down a big rock? You just keep chipping away at it. And your whole off-season program in injury prevention should be a routine that you work on, and you hit it every day. And the payoff is you finally prevent something from happening. Okay, so that's about injury prevention. In terms of bracing, there's only been one brace out of all the braces that's ever been studied beyond a shadow of a doubt to be an injury preventer 100% of the time. Not 100%, but it's the one that actually has been proven, and that's lace-up ankle braces, okay? The NCAA did a study, it's been 15 years ago, and they repeated the study about 10 years ago on using lace-up ankle braces on collegiate athletes in both men's and women's sports. They did it over 2 years and looked at injuries comparing doing nothing but exercise, wearing lace-up ankle supports, or ankle tape jobs done by the trainers. And clearly, by double, they prevented injuries by lace-up ankle supports. So in terms of investing your money, if you put your kids in lace-up ankle supports, you should be able to cut your taping costs down to almost a minimum. Now, the trainers don't like that because they feel like that's an important part of their job, but it's been proven beyond a shadow of doubt that the trainer's tape job doesn't even compare to lace-up ankles. There's nothing about knee bracing except for decreasing the risk of medial collateral injuries in interior linemen. The guys that get hit from the outside and get forced in decrease MCL injuries. But at a cost, there's an increased risk of tearing your ACL when you wear those braces. So the braces are worth a lot of money. brace companies make a lot of money. They tell you a lot of things, and because they're trying to sell braces, they're almost like the shoulder pad guys from that standpoint. But so lace-up ankle is the only thing in bracing that's worth anything. And I'm going to add something too. The most influential guys in my life in terms of what I'm doing is that my father was a high school football coach for 20 years. Some of the old guys in here may have known my father. I think they did. His last stop coaching was at New Braunfels. And he was a huge influence on my life. And what he taught me was always do your best. And then when I got to Judson, it was always do your best, don't sweat the rest. And I've always kind of lived by that. So my father, the coach, and my high school coaches, who I still treat as patients, were super influential in my life.
Coach Rutledge, final thoughts, and then we'll take questions from the audience. Final thoughts, if you have any. And then go ahead, Joe, same thing.
Well, number one, I want to thank the Villaseñor family for all y'all have done through this Dos Amigos clinic. It's a legendary clinic. There's no doubt about it, and there's like Hector was saying earlier. There's a lot of fellowship and stuff that has gone on here, but boy, there's been a lot of learning that has gone on here, and that has helped our coaches association, helped our coaching profession and community, and we really appreciate you guys for the commitment that you've put in on this. And the other thing is, as y'all know, I'm going to be retiring, or some of you may know, but I'm going to be retiring in December, and boy, I'm really excited about Joe stepping in as executive director. I just there's not another person out there that's more prepared, more knowledgeable, and more passionate about that job than Joe Martin. And he is going to be bring some great things to the Coaches Association. Also want to recognize Glen West. He's our newest hire. He's going to step in as assistant executive director. Where's Glen? Back there in the back. And he's coming in, and I tell you, both of these guys have got they are unmatched in their leadership skills. They're very, very talented. They've got a passion for this profession, and they've got a passion for protecting this profession. And you just are not going to get a better two men to step in that. They've got a passion for the association, and I'm excited about the things that they're going to do in our future. So, but appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you, Hector and Oki, for the invitation.
Again, Hector and Oki, thank y'all for all y'all have done for coaches over 25 years and allowing me to be a part of it. DW talked about his retirement. I can't tell you how fortunate I've been to be able to work alongside him for 15 years. And our deal isn't, I'm not going to have to stop and regroup. We're just going to keep running in the future. And I really appreciate all the things that he has done for this profession and this organization, our association in this state. And he's a legendary coach, and he's a legendary association executive. He's brought our association leaps and bounds. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do, and I've been very fortunate to be able to be alongside him as we went through those journeys and did that. We're not going to change anything. I'm extremely, extremely proud to carry that torch and the things that we've been doing. And we want you, Glenn and I want you to know that we're here to work for you. And if you have thoughts or questions or ideas or things that you think that we can do better, we're all ears. That doesn't mean we can do it all the time
or can do it at all, but we're here for you. We're here to help you. DW talked about football being under attack. I think our profession is under attack somewhat in this state, and we're here to advocate for you. It's going to be a legislative year, and starting in 19, and it could become pretty volatile about the things that they're trying to do, and not to scare anybody, but we're going to be there working for you alongside with our lobbyists. And if you see things, hear things, and feel free to pick up the phone and call us. But thank you all for being here, and hopefully we've been able to give you some nuggets to be able to take with you.
Doc Curtis.
Well, a little bit along that line, things are changing in the relationship between athletic programs and the medical profession. More and more from the professional level all the way down now to the high school level, the care of your athletes for sale, okay? And we're seeing it, and I just heard a story earlier today about Frisco. I think somebody was telling me that sponsorships are going to be sold, and they're going to the medical care is going to be attached with that sponsorship. So hospital systems, groups of physicians, universities particularly are going to pay big money for sponsorships for taking care of athletes, and then your athletes are going to be required to be taken care of by those groups of physicians, and that takes one important element out of it, and that's quality control. Okay? It means that the money is more important than the quality control. So for all you guys, beware. It's awareness. Know what really needs to be done. Ask good questions. But more and more, I can see over the next 5 years it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge dollars to help your programs run, but you're going to have to be better at quality control. So, and I'd like to thank the Villasenors for having me for all these years, and I think I've operated on just about everybody in the family now, so I appreciate your confidence.
Not me. Not me yet. Anyway, questions? Eric, did you get any questions? Nobody? No one? For?
I'll ask.
He's got a question.
I know both of you won state championships, but over the last 20, 30 years that you coached, I'm sure there's one special moment or play that you remember. Could you comment on that? No matter where you coach or whatever, you have to remember that. I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah, mine would have to be in 1993. We played Plano, and we played Eagle Pass as well that year. Yes, it was a tough game too. But that year, my son was quarterback in the team, and to win a state championship and coach your son through his high school career, and that culminated into a state championship game with your son at quarterback would have to be the cherry on top for me. So.
Mine would be in 1999 in a semifinal ball game. We're playing South Grand Prairie, and South Grand Prairie had about 8 D1 players, and we were surprised to be there and had surprised a lot of people that we were in the semifinal ball game, and a lot of hype during the week about how their superstars are going to be able to beat us little old guys over at Garland High School. And we're playing at Texas Stadium in a semifinal ball game. The Division I state championship was going to take place right after that. Rusty Dowling was at Texas City at that point in time, and they were playing right after that. But we're playing a semifinal ball game. Disco David Thompson was the head coach at South Grand Prairie, and we got down to late in the fourth quarter, under a minute to go. We needed to be able to convert a fourth down. It's raining really hard. It rained about 4.5 to 5 inches during the game, and we had to convert a fourth down play to continue a drive. We were too far out to kick a field goal to tie it, to get it into overtime. And we always used to talk about, you got to know, I know Fetchy's in here, always got to know who your referee is and your officials are. And it's 4th and 3, And, they always would say, dance with the one who brung you. And I learned that being in high school. As a junior in high school, we got beat by Uvalde in the state championship game with Mike Honeycutt being the defensive coordinator, by the way. And we had a really good running back, and we did not give him the ball in the last play of the game. We did not dance with the one who brung us that night. But in '99, we decided, learn from all those lessons. So we run 39 pitch. We run the pitch out of the wing tee back to the split side. And it's a real close call spot, but we ran it to our sideline. And Jim Ely was the head referee, who also did my income tax for me. And they brought the sticks over, and he was he was pulling the sticks toward the football, and I said, Jim, this is a call for us to get to the Astrodome, because we were going to play Katy in the Astrodome. I said, you stretch that as hard as you can stretch it, and as soon as you put that down, we're fixing to go to the Astrodome. And he stretched that. First down. Disco David Thompson comes across the field raging mad, but we got the first down. We went down and kicked the field goal, and then we beat them in overtime. But that's my favorite play of all time. And if you come into my office, that photo with him pointing first down is sitting in my windowsill in my office today. Brother Jim.
Gentlemen, any questions? Any other questions? No. Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming. It's a privilege and honor having you guys here and, being friends and what you do for our profession and our association. On behalf of Dos Amigos, we'd like to present you with a little gift here. These clocks were made by Charlie Soto. Coach Charlie Soto, where are you? Stand up. He did this for all our speakers, and once you get them, you'll know that what it is. They have, wherever they're coached, their helmets on there, wherever they've been their head coaches. If you get a chance to look at one, but Charlie did a great job with that. And also, before Coach Rutledge gets over here, gladly we got him, this is probably the first of his last hurrah clinics, I guess, right? Before coaching school. And on behalf of Hector and Eric and I would like to present Coach Rutledge with his helmet. So Dos Amigos Clinic, just like, again, Coach, 25th anniversary. You put it on your mantle up there. Just a little story. When I was in Eagle Pass, we played him 3 years in state quarterfinals, and of course, I was trying to get a rocket out of my ass still. But, hey, could you please put it, that's what I did, put it next to Judson, remember me after the time you look at that damn thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, we'll take a 5-minute break, 5 minutes, and then I'm going to give out like 10 gifts. 10 door prizes.
High school are looking to change careers or to upgrade your job skills, Texas Southmost College is the place to start. With over 50 certificates and associate degrees to choose from, TSC has the career for you. At TSC, you get a quality education that's close to home. Earn a certificate or an associate degree and get the education you need for today and tomorrow's job market.
Wouldn't you like to be in demand?
Register now at Texas Southmost College in Brownsville.
At Martinez Family Practice, they offer health care and are right now accepting primary care patients. Right now, they are giving athletes the chance to get in their sports physicals at just $20. Angelica Martinez and the Martinez Family Practice in Eagle Pass.
That, my friends, will wrap up the first segment here of the 25th annual Dos Amigos Ranch Football Clinic. I'm Joe Bowling with you on Rio Sports Live. We're going to go ahead and shut down this broadcast, and we'll set up another one to get part two, in which Jim Streety, Pete Friedenberg, and Larry Hill will take the table. Again, I hope you're enjoying the broadcast, 25th annual Coaches Clinic in Eagle Pass, Texas. For just a little while, so long.